too cynical. You know, like Wendell Berry wrote The Unsettling of America in 1978 or so, and he said 25 years later that not only had nothing changed, but everything had gotten worse, and he couldn't possibly have imagined how bad it would be when he wrote Unsettling America. It was pretty bad. And I don't know that I feel that strongly. What I feel from my own sort of education is that I was arguing for a different kind of farm table, one that included a diet that supported a landscape. So not just a farm table where you treat the farmer's market like a grocery store. You know, I'll take a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, but that you look at this more holistically, which is more complicated and more difficult, and that's what I tried to explain in the book, why it took me 10 years to write it. But what I now understand, and a little bit through what we've all gone through COVID and through understanding the inequities of our food system and the inequalities, and just the understanding that the idea of farm, that you can vote with your fork 3 times a day. That's what Michael Pollan quote, which I always loved, and it was part of my book in the sense that you have the power, but you don't. That's what I mean. You don't. We do not have the power. It will not change the food system, how we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. And I really believed that 10 years ago. Boy, was I young. And what I know now, and what I think we all know now, is that corporate interests and political interests are way too strong to fight that. And what we need is serious systemic change. I would say in a weirdly positive way, COVID will probably shine a light on that. I mean, how could it not, as we emerge from this and see 92% of underlying conditions being diabetes or obesity or some type of hypertension, which are all connected directly to our diets. I mean, COVID in some ways is a diet-related, a death from COVID is diet-related. And to say that is to say something quite strong, but it's also to say something that I think the science is going to reveal. I was just on a phone call not that long ago with a Rockefeller scientist who said, this sent chills down my spine. He said, in 1975, if you were just to take diabetes, just as one marker, in 1975, if COVID hit with the numbers of diabetes, type 2 diabetes in the United States, COVID would be a bad flu season. 1975. That's not 1865 or 1875. It's not 1940. In 1875, that's not long ago. A bad flu season, because not just because of our diets, but because of diabetes related to our diets. If you take everything into account, it's really stunning. And this isn't the moment to recognize that we have to not only have a wholesale change in how we eat, but in how we grow food and give ourselves the nutrition necessary to be preventative of what's coming, then I don't know what. So in that sense, I feel like, I didn't know that when I wrote the book, and I see that as something that in a very dark moment that we've gone through in these years, maybe this is the moment where we emerge with a consciousness we didn't have before.
I know from the stories I've written over the last year or two that